Okay, welcome to A Long Time Ago, the #1 Star Wars podcast between me, Adam Long, and a guy who's about to start his journey into graded Kenner figures. Martyn Long, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well, Adam. Thank you. Good
Okay.
to be with you again this week.
Yeah, always good. So yeah, as I was saying, then you started your journey.
I did. I mean, we alluded to it last week, didn't we, when we were talking about the auctions, and I managed to pick up my first few graded figures, fully intending to actually sell them on to fund other figures. But the nostalgia came springing back to me, and all of a sudden we started this journey, as I mentioned last week, of collecting the original 96 Kenner Star Wars figures, graded if we can, if not buying them loose, and then perhaps getting them graded afterwards.
Yeah. How's the search been so far? Have you
It's been
stumbled across plenty, or?
Well, there's plenty on eBay. Absolutely. The prices on eBay though are something to behold. Funnily enough, you texted me earlier today with a list of a load from someone on eBay, and I mean, I don't have a huge price guide, but let's just say they're inflated prices on eBay. But perhaps when we get to where I got my current crop of figures from, we can talk a bit more about that later.
Yeah. So you're trying to collect the 96, the original 96, but they have to be graded. Did you put a limit on the grade, or were you?
I would like, if possible, to have 85 grades. I've already failed in that mission.
But one of those we'll come to in a minute was one that you originally intended to sell on anyway.
Yes.
So
the original the first three that I purchased, absolutely. Yeah.
So, but everything from here on out, are you going to attempt the 85%?
I'm going to try 85 AFA or 85% UKG. But the only caveat I would say is there's some really, really rare figures and some very expensive figures. Let's take Yak Face, for example. An 85 grade Yak Face, I think I sent you a link to one for about £950 the other day.
Yeah.
I'd be prepared to go down to a 75, I think, for Yak Face, just in order to save face, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you'll still probably be paying above the odds for that as well, though, won't you?
Yeah, I mean, the dream would be to find one somewhere in a sale loose, and then it would probably be actually cheaper to send it off and get it graded myself, which is again something I'll probably have to do with certain figures, because there's just no way I can pay out the money to get them fully graded at a high grade straight away.
So, like, how much does it cost to grade something as well,
then? I think to grade loose is I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to say £25 to £30 to get it graded. And obviously gets encased in an airtight acrylic case and gets logged on their databases as graded. But I'll have to double check, because, as I say, I haven't come to that situation yet. We're early in our journey here.
Yes, yeah. But I'm sure I think part of the beauty of the journey, I think, is going to be finding some figures that are loose that you send off for grading. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I've only been doing this a week now, or a couple of weeks, I should say. Here or there, and I say there's so much to learn about the vintage. I mean, my knowledge of the vintage Kenner figures is I have several carded figures in my collection behind me, and obviously sorry, go on.
Several, yeah.
I mean, they're not modern ones, but the 1.0
ones.
But I just collected them because of nostalgia. Having got into loose collecting and graded, I there's so much I didn't know, and I'm sure that while people watch this or listen to this, they'll be commenting and saying, "Oh, you need to learn about this, you need to learn about that," which I would very much welcome, because I'm mind blown the amount of different things there are to learn about variants, COOs,
Yeah.
weapon types, it's colors of different variants, the different
Mhm.
it's crazy,
Well,
absolutely crazy.
as you learn about it, we'll discuss it on here, so then I can learn a little bit about it, and then yeah, so on.
Definitely.
But okay, then should we get into the first bunch of figures?
Yeah, so I've got four that I've managed to get hold of so
This
far.
this including the three that we
Yes.
spoke about last week.
Yeah, we spoke about them, we didn't really focus on them,
We didn't
so
go into too much detail. No.
no. So the first one I managed to get was a 1977 Chewbacca,
Okay.
and its country of origin was Hong Kong, and it was AFA graded 75 near mint. Um, so that was one of the ones I won in auction, as I say, and
Hmm.
it looks very nice. I have to say, it looks gorgeous. You can tell there's some discoloration in the arms and legs compared to the torso, so I
Okay.
would probably imagine that's why it got the 75% grade.
So it's been
um
played with a little bit.
it has, probably has, yeah. And
Yeah.
I think one of the things I've learned over the weeks and is that the paints and the plastics that they used back in the day, they don't hold their color quite as well as perhaps modern things do. So there's a lot of figures out there who naturally just lose their color or yellow.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
but no, really happy with it. It was one of the figures that I looked at and thought, oh wow, yeah, that's something I need to start collecting.
Hmm.
So yeah, and that one, if I divide the three by three in terms of what I paid at the auction, it cost me £45.
Okay.
So I think that's a fair amount. I mean, it's you don't find many graded figures from what I've seen on eBay, especially for £45. Let's put it that
Mm.
way.
Yeah. Um, so talking about Chewie, then obviously a very well-known, well-loved character in the Star Wars universe. Um, how many variants can you find of Chewie?
Well, again looking at research, there's only the one Chewy you can actually get. I found this quite good guide online that someone's put on there that shows all of the different variants you can get of each figure. There's several figures in the 96 that have more than one, more than two, more than
Mm,
three variants. So to be able to match those up will be quite handy for us when we're doing the podcast. So
absolutely, yeah.
so as for Chewy, there's just the one variant.
So that actually quite sort of surprises me a little bit. I'd have thought he'd be more popular than most figures, but maybe not. I guess not.
Well, I think in terms of variant, it's not
It's not
the
down to the
design.
character as such.
No, it's just some of the variants that I've looked at is the hair color, for example. So the farm boy Luke is has different colored hair, and they're the variants that you're looking for.
Okay.
So Chewy obviously being all one color and quite a set mold. I
Mm,
think unless they released a Chewy that was a slightly darker brown or a slightly lighter brown, then that would count as a variant. But in this case, according to this guide anyway, there's only the one Chewy.
gotcha. Right. Cool. And he's 75%, you say.
Yeah.
Uh, obviously not right away, but are you thinking if you stumble upon an 85, you might have a little go in getting that and then sell on the 75?
Well, it's funny you mention that, but I think in my mind, absolutely yes, because you know me, I'm a completionist. But I think what I'll
Feel
do is
great on you, wouldn't it, having
it
that
will grate on
75
me.
there when everything else is a bit higher?
Oh yeah, you know me well. You know me well. But I will finish collecting all of them before I start thinking about doing that because I'm gonna need I'm gonna need the money
Yeah. Yeah.
to actually purchase the other ones. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what else? Where did you buy this guy? That was part of the
This
auction deal,
this
wasn't
was
it?
the Vectis auction that
Yeah.
I bid in a couple of months ago.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, nice. Um, so moving on, then you've got another one from the Vectis auction.
Yes, this was a 1978 Hammerhead. Its country of origin is Hong Kong, and this one was AFA graded 80 plus near mint. and as you can see, this one looks gorgeous. The paint on it looks absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Again,
Sorry, what was the grading on this?
it's 80 plus near
80
mint,
plus.
so it's a
Okay.
very good grade.
Yeah.
I mean, if I've seen, it's weird because I've seen some 80 pluses, and they look nowhere near as pristine as this one. So
Mm.
I guess you're down to the person who's doing the grading at the time.
Mm.
But yeah, this one looks outstanding. So again, lovely figure, another figure that I had when I was a kid. And yeah, so another fantastic edition.
Yeah.
And this was again £45 as the
Yeah.
same as the previous one. So I
Yeah.
think a bit of a
You split
bargain,
it, didn't
really.
you? You split the
Yeah,
three essentially.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so what what makes it an 80 plus rather than just like going up to an 85 then? Do you know how it all works or not?
I'm not 100% sure.
No.
Again, please put links in the
Yeah.
comments, or let us know. But as I say,
We're definitely looking for comments in this one.
absolutely. I mean, you can see I'm a massive Star Wars collector, but this is a new venture, not venture, but this is a new part of my journey. So
Yeah.
I'm learning all the time, and you know, there's a few articles that I'm reading about the grading and things, but I don't want to say
Mm.
something that I'm not 100% sure about.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
fair enough.
will definitely learn as we're going along.
Yeah. Yeah, so this character then, Hammerhead, what scene does he appear in the films? Is
Well,
he just in one film?
yeah, he's just in A New Hope, and he's in the cantina scene on
Yeah.
Tatooine. That's the only scene.
Hmm.
But I mean, he's a fan favorite character, and obviously since then we've seen him turn up in not this obviously this character, but we've seen Hammerheads turn up in. We saw one in Boba Fett, didn't we? He was the mayor, I think.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, forgot about that. Yeah.
yeah, and they often appear in the Clone Wars and Rebels
Mm.
on consistent basis.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I've mentioned it before how like it's quite interesting that the background characters get such a ridiculous amount of love, really, and when they don't have any lines, they're just there, and
Yeah.
people just love them. These random aliens. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Well, like, do you think as well that these characters or these aliens, they get a lot of love and they have a big following because they were released as action figures? So all of the millions and millions of these that were sold
mm,
between the original trilogy coming out, all those people that were kids that are now adults, my age, they have such nostalgia for these characters, even though they
yeah,
literally didn't say anything and were just in the background.
yeah,
We associate them with Star Wars, so we were always saying, "Oh, we want to see more of them. We want to see more of them."
yeah, maybe, yeah, you're
Yeah.
probably right.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's not like, I mean, it's quite a strange sort of thing for these characters to be given a figure, really, when you've got so many other characters in the universe that have much bigger roles to play.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree with you now because there's so much Star Wars out there.
mm,
But back then in 1977, when there was
mm,
one film and they only had the three leads and Obi-Wan and Darth Vader,
mm.
you kind of had to release background characters because there was no one else.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of get it, but I also was thinking that it would come back to, oh, what was I just thinking? um, it kind of comes back to the whole like toy scene of, I think we spoke about how people use the Black series to like recreate the scenes.
Mm,
As a
mm.
kid, I suppose you're trying to recreate the cantina scene. So you'd have all of the characters, you putting them all in the right places and whatnot. I suppose it's partly to do with that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think they even brought out a Cantina playset
Hmm.
back in the 70s. So
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right. That's I mean, you know, you not only recreated the adventures as a kid with these figures, but you created new adventures of
Hmm.
your own with your imagination, something
Yeah.
that perhaps, you know, kids these days don't do so much because they have electronic devices. But
Yeah.
I can tell you back in the 80s, we'd all get together, all me and my friends, and we'd get all our Star Wars figures and we'd have
Recreate.
adventures
Yeah.
and
Or do,
battles
yeah,
and
just do different
yeah,
journeys with them. Yeah.
absolutely.
Maybe we should make that one of the podcasts.
Mm.
one of your journeys of your figures. Smash these graded ones out of the acrylic
Yeah,
cases. And
yeah,
I
never.
joke. I joke. Nobody come at me with that. I'm just messing around. Uh, moving on then.
Yep. The third figure.
Reuse.
Yes, reuse. This again was an auction item. The third figure. It was a Taiwan country of origin, AFA graded 80 plus near mint. So another good grade. Again, it looks fantastic in the pictures. Again, I've divided this so it makes it £45. Really happy with this figure. And I think any Star Wars collector watching this will think, I can't blame you for getting these three figures and thinking, yeah, I need to collect these, all of them, because it's just nostalgia, mind-blowing nostalgia. It's amazing. And again, I had this figure when I was a kid.
Did you? Yeah, you
Yeah.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. This was a staple. I mostly had Return the Jedi figures, to be honest with you, because I was old enough for Return the Jedi, when it came out of the cinema, to go and see it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you, as before, like with the Hammerhead figure, I asked like what scene he appears in. The reason I think I'm asking this is that I don't think I paid enough attention to a lot of the background figures. So like I kind of just want to almost get the memories back to me of where these guys appeared. So can you tell us on this one then?
Yeah, well, Reuse was a denizen, if you like, of Jabba the Hutt's palace.
Yeah, that's right.
You see him in several background scenes in the Jabba's palace scenes, but he's also on the sail barge as well. And there's actually a deleted scene that I think I've seen a picture of where he attacks C-3PO for some reason. I can't quite. I don't know if my mind's playing tricks on me, but yeah,
Right.
he's definitely one of the background characters, and I
will
can
have
only
to look it up.
imagine he was one of the people that got blown up when the sail barge got destroyed. But then again, Max Rebo made it out, so
Yeah. So has he appeared anywhere else then?
his
Or his
yeah,
species then?
absolutely, yeah. He's he. Funnily enough, I've just rewatched The Mandalorian. I noticed there was a reuse alien. I'd have to actually learn these are some of the names they give to these figures are the species names, and some of them are the actual characters' names. I think going back to Hammerhead, his actual name is Mahornick.
Okay.
But Reese, I think, is his actual name, and I can't remember the species name. But sorry, he's in the background of Jabba's palace when Boba Fett comes back and shoots Bib Fortuna. Right in the end credit scene in the Mandalorian season 2 finale.
Guess he did make it off the barge then.
Yeah, well, yeah, it could have been him. You're absolutely right. It could have been him. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, was Bib Fortuna on the yard on the barge? Sorry.
He was, yes.
So
actually,
another one to make it out.
I think we're seeing a pattern here.
Yeah. So moving on then, you've got one more from the collection then.
Yeah, one more figure, which is Squid Head. And I really, really like this figure. This one is a country of origin, Hong Kong. It's my first UK graded 85%. And this one cost me £75, which was quite pricey. Yeah. Again, look at look how immaculate this looks, this figure. The fabric cloak on it looks absolutely flawless. The stitching around the top looks absolutely flawless.
Yeah.
And you have go on,
sorry, fabric on these figures was more done back in the early days, wasn't it? It's not really something you see much, is it now? A lot of the cloaks are plastic, or
sometimes they are, but you do get a lot of soft goods, as they call them, on 6-inch figures, for example. And there's definitely some vintage collection that has some fabric.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. But the thing about this figure is this fabric is 40 years old next year. So you've got to say that's pretty impressive, because you see a lot of figures these days on eBay just sold loose that have had all these ripped off, and they're just the bare figure underneath. And so this is a great,
them quite a bit, I suppose.
Absolutely, this is a great looking figure. Really, really happy. Love the grade. Yes, I paid £75 for it. I'm not sure if that was overpay, underpaid. I'm still learning, as we've said before.
Mm.
Again, in the comments below, if you think I've overpaid or underpaid, but I was
Maybe just
happy.
underpaid.
Yeah, please underpaid. But so yeah, I'm really, really happy with this, and this is a great figure to start the new journey, if you
Yeah,
like.
absolutely.
And this figure has got a slightly different story. I saw this on eBay, and I emailed the guy to see if he could do me a better price. And let's just say we got into contact via a different route, and
Mm.
he was able to do me a deal offline, if that makes sense.
Very nice. Yeah.
So that enabled me to be able to pick this up a bit cheaper than it was on eBay, because, as I mentioned before, obviously people have to inflate their prices slightly on eBay to cover the charges that eBay
Yeah.
will make to them.
Yeah.
So I think this is the route for me to go. If I can pick them up from toy fairs, great. Auctions, great.
Yeah.
But if there's any on eBay, I might, you know,
Try
try
and
other means to try and get in
speak to
contact
the
with the
people.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this guy didn't have any others available then.
He's got about 45, 50. He sent me an Excel spreadsheet with the and all the pricing, all of the grades on them. So
Hmm.
I've said to him, we'll be talking again.
Yeah.
So maybe for part two of this journey, I think possibly I may have got back in contact with him.
Oh, okay.
Christmas is coming up. You never know.
Yeah. You're
So
buying
yeah,
your
we'll
own
see.
buying your own presents this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a bit too late to give the list to Steph, unfortunately.
Yeah. Okay, then this character, Squidface. Uh, how many times do we see him in the films?
Well, we see this particular character in Return of the Jedi again in Jabba's palace, again
Yeah.
on the sail barge. Um, but we've seen this alien several times. You see him in the prequels quite a lot.
Mm.
We've seen him in the Clone Wars, and most likely we've seen him in a lot of the other media.
Mm.
Possibly not Andor, but we would have seen him in most
He,
of the other media.
I was going to say, was he on uh, the planet with the what are they called? What's Admiral Akbar?
Oh, the Mon Calamari.
Mon Calamari. That's right. Was he
Oh, of
on that planet?
course.
I think there was a few of them on there.
Yes, you're right. They're actually
Yeah,
from the
the
same planet.
pirates, right?
Yes, they were. They were the fishermen, weren't they? And they
Fishermen.
repaired the
Sorry. Yeah.
Mandalorian ship. Yeah, you're right.
Mm.
I forgot about that
Mm.
episode. Great episode that is.
That's a really good episode. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes,
But
yeah,
I
there's
think
several of them.
that harps back to the nostalgia, seeing all of those species. I think I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
It's just probably what it is.
Again, I can't remember the species name, and I'm so unprepared. I'm not a Star Wars fan at all. But yes, Quarren. It's a Quarren. There we
Quarren.
go. Yeah, the names are
It's in there.
Quarren.
It's in
Yeah.
the head. It's in
Yeah.
the brain somewhere. Yeah. And anyone that questions you being a Star Wars fan obviously isn't watching. They can't see what's behind you right now.
No, and I think when you've been a Star Wars fan for 40 plus years, there's only so much knowledge you can fit in your brain, especially since Disney's taken over it and you're just getting bombarded yearly with 3 new
True.
shows.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot to remember.
Well, we've already said about trying to remember names in the Andor series, which was near on impossible.
Yeah.
But you almost gave away your age there, mate.
That's fine. I look it.
I don't think so. I think people wouldn't have questioned it at all. Um, right, yeah. So that's your lot for this week then.
That's my lot. Have you got anything to report this week in terms of
Well,
collection?
I might have, yeah.
Fantastic.
So we've been trying to figure out what I'm going to collect, and the rules we haven't quite figured out properly the rules yet, have we? Like what? Because I've said before, I don't want to be spending ridiculous money, but I do want to start collecting things. Look what you've done to me. You've turned me into a collector. You turned me into somebody that's going to lose a lot of money.
Don't send your wife after me.
I might have to. But this arrived today.
Oh wow, an unboxing.
It's an unboxing.
Sweet.
Live on the podcast. So yeah.
I don't know anything about this. This is great.
This is going to be the start of the collection. I mean, I say the start of the collection. Obviously, I've got Admiral Akbar up there, but he might be having to take a back seat. We might have to lose him somewhere or something. I don't know. I've actually been toying with the idea of getting the weapon for Admiral Akbar,
Oh, yep,
just to sort of complete it. So
you can get him graded and add him to my collection.
I don't think it'll be very high grade, to be honest. So thanks to Star Action Figures. Where is it? It's in here somewhere.
I swear I get all my vintage collection from Star Action Figures. They're great.
I've decided to collect a bounty hunter.
Nice.
At this point. And I'm thinking bounty hunters are going to be my way forward. So I've got the Mandalorian there in his series 1 episode 1 outfit.
Nice. Great figure.
So I actually really like it. Yeah, I really like that. And I really like bounty hunters. So I think we're going to go with that. I'm going to look for all the bounty hunters. Obviously,
Adam's Bounty Hunt.
It's going to be called Adam's Bounty Hunt.
Nice.
Just like Martyn's journey is making the grade. Yeah, so I'm going to attempt to find some bounty hunters because they're just awesome, aren't they? Bounty hunters, they're really cool characters.
Yeah,
and I know that sorry, I was just going to say, I know that I'm going to be spending a lot of money on this, though. That's the problem, because I've seen some of them are quite pricey. But we'll see.
But there's always ways of, getting deals here or there, and you just got to be careful. That's all. Just know your limit and don't go over it. But what I would say is, it's good that you've picked a niche or section of a collection, if that makes sense. So you're just going for bounty hunters, so that basically makes it a little bit easier for you in a way, because if you're not collecting a whole range, there's only certain amount you can get, so you can take your time a bit and try and get some deals.
So as far as the vintage collection goes, this is 2.0, isn't it?
This is that's the Disney 2.0. There are lots of vintage collections 1.0 figures,
right?
And I think you mentioned before that there's a Forlom and Zuckus 2-pack that you'd really like to get at some point.
Yeah, I think that's going to be my grail. I'm not sure yet. So yeah, well, it's going to be vintage collection and it's going to be bounty hunters. Nice. That's all we know so far.
Nice. No, that's really good, mate. Oh, I'm well chuffed. Yeah. Excellent.
Cool. That brings us to the end of this week's podcast. If you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. Obviously, in the comments section, we want to know everything about, Martyn wants to know everything about the original Kenner lines, what to look for, all that business. If you like and subscribe, that'd be great. Rate and review if you're listening. And we will catch you in the next one. We'll see you later.
Bye.